Hey everyone, Jon Gillin here, and welcome to Silver Sound Guitar. Today I'm going to go ahead and give you 3 simple warm-up exercises. What's great about these warm-up exercises is it gives you the opportunity to just get your hands moving, start with something simple, but they can also be as complicated as you want to make them. So there's a lot of variety that can go into this. We'll look at some of those today, not all of them, but it's a good place to start. Get your hands warmed up, work on finger independence, speed, and dexterity. So let's jump to it straight away. I want to start with looking at just the left hand fingering on this first exercise here. It's just a stretch. It's a great thing to start with because it is a stretch. You know, just nice little warm up. And what we're going to do is start here on the 5th fret. So as you can see, I'm actually using my 2nd finger here as opposed to my 3rd in order to create that stretch. So I'm playing 5, 7, and 9. But what I want to do here is use that 2nd finger. The reason is that 2nd finger is going to help create a little bit more space than the 3rd finger will, and a little more relaxed element within my wrist and my hand. So right here, I've got this. And let's go ahead and play through it. This is what it'll look like. And then we'll go back down. Obviously, this is a good one to start with triplets. If you want to make it a little more complicated, you can start building towards sextuplets. You can also do hammer-ons and pull-offs. It's a great variation on it. Now let's talk a little bit about the picking variations that you can do with this as well. So when we're looking at picking it, there's a couple of things to be aware of. One is economy picking and the other is strict alternate picking. So economy picking, the pick is going to continue playing in this case, a downstroke as we go down the strings, or an upstroke as we go up the strings when we transition the strings. Let me demonstrate. So when I'm playing this, I'm going to go down, up, down. Now when I have to change strings, I'm going to do another downstroke. Then up, down, down. Every time I change strings, I'm going to play a downstroke. And then on the return, every time I change strings, it's an upstroke. Just like that. So what this does is, for a lot of people, it feels more natural. Now, perhaps it doesn't feel as natural to you, so here would be the other alternative, and this would be strict alternate picking. This is actually my favorite, but not everybody likes this, and there are some other picking mechanics that go into that, and you can check this out here. So what we do is we go down, up, down, and now the next stroke is actually going to be up. And then down, up, now we're back to down, up, down, and then up, down, up. And then if we were to play it descending, I might start on a downstroke or an upstroke, it doesn't really matter. So there I've got down, up, down, which means the next stroke is going to be up. So you can see how the pick alternates every single time, regardless of whether or not I'm changing strings. And that's a big part of alternate picking, is that it will constantly change the direction, whether that's down or up, that you're picking. So that's something to think about, be careful with, see how it suits you. It may not, or you may really like it. It's up to you. So let's look at the next one here. This is one of my favorites for warming up. It's a great finger dexterity exercise, and what's really helpful about it is there's a lot of variety to it. It's kind of like a chromatic scale. Here in the studio, a lot of the teachers refer to it as the spider exercise. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like in full, and then I'm going to give you a variation to help you think about building speed. So let's go ahead and take a look in the left hand what that looks like. It's going to start here again on the 5th fret, and this is going to be a strict alternate picking exercise. It doesn't really matter because everything starts with a downstroke, but as you saw there, we're starting on the 5th fret, and then we play 6, 7, 8. And then we just do that on every string. Now, when you're warming up with this, start slow. I always encourage my students, start slow, go as fast as you possibly can, and end somewhere in the middle. The idea there is that you're building muscle memory with it, and you're also helping to build speed. So the muscle memory for really concentrating, be careful that you're on those fingertips every single time, and that your left hand and your right hand are synchronized. Now, obviously, when you're playing faster, they will not be as synchronized, and that's okay. The point there is that you get speed. So start slow, focus on the technique and the synchronization, go fast till it falls apart, and then go from there. And dial it back, get the synchronization back in. So when you're playing that, there's the ascending portion. I like to do this variation where I slide up to the 9th fret and come back down. And the reason is because then I can just loop it. Like that. Now, if you want to use this exercise to help build your synchronized speed, one of the things I like to do is start right here and just use 2 strings. So the first thing I'll do is actually just build the 1, and just on that 1 then, once I'm comfortable with that. So effectively what I'm doing is I'm playing 16th notes and I'm stopping on the next downbeat. The reason for that is it helps me get a feel for where that downbeat is. So for example, I'm gonna go ahead and bring up my trusty little metronome here, old school style, right? Just to give you guys a little demonstration here. So with that right there, you can hear that. So you can hear how that click ends on the beat, right? The next thing that I'll want to do is actually go ahead and bring that up and hit the next string up. Let me demonstrate. So. So you get the idea there, right? Now what happens then is I'm able to get the feel for what that feels like to jump to the next string. Then finally, go ahead and play both of those. And then I like to do a little slide up. So that slide up allows me to start that descending pattern. So the whole pattern ends up being a nice little circle in one location. Obviously, this is going to be an alternate picking exercise throughout. There's not a whole lot to talk about with that. Just keep it steady and consistent. The last one here, there's some great picking variations on this, and it's a great 2-finger independence exercise. So this is something I've picked up from a variety of teachers. One was Dave Beagle, the other one was, if you don't know who he is, go ahead and Google him. He's definitely worth checking out, guitar player up in Loveland, believe it or not. So the other one is Christophe Godin, guitar player out of France, fantastic musician, great educator. Both of them have had an influence on me as a player, and this exercise is simple, but there is a lot of variety in it. So let's check that out real fast. Here's what it looks like. We're gonna go ahead and on the 4th string and the 3rd string, and on the 5th fret and 7th fret, I'm just gonna play, which seems relatively easy, right? And you just want to work on building speed. Now, the next alternative that you can do to this is play descending. Now, with that, once you're comfortable with it, try it with different finger combinations. Then, and if you're feeling really brave, and even more brave, I will also say, don't expect out of the gate for all those fingers to be equal. Realize that if you're going to put a metronome on it, it's going to be a different tempo for most of those finger combinations. That's okay. Don't sweat it, but go ahead and start building that dexterity and that independence. The last thing to talk about with this particular exercise is the picking variations, because this tends to throw people for a loop. So if we're looking at it, what we can see is in the right hand, if we start alternate picking, right, we've got the down, up, and then... So it's kind of handy. It's pretty self-explanatory, but sometimes for people that string switch, particularly people that are more prone to economy picking, find that a little bit difficult. So just be aware of that. But our descending pattern 2 is the other one that gets a lot of people. So be aware of how you're starting your picking pattern. Is it down, up, and then down? Or am I going down, up, down? Or is it an upstroke that I want to start with? And I encourage you to go ahead and do both. Start both of those with an upstroke and see how that changes. The other thing that you can do is now try the alternate picking. Now the alternate picking, the economy picking is going to start on an upstroke and then down. So it goes like this. You've got up and then down and then down again, up, up. Now, economy picking is not my favorite or necessarily something that I do a lot of, so I do encourage you, go ahead and explore it. Play what's comfortable for you and go from there. Because really, it's all about building that speed and dexterity, but being aware of how you do it and how you play. So, thanks so much for joining me today. This has been great fun. I always enjoy talking about this stuff. I love teaching the little technical things. So, if you're new to Silver Sound Guitar, definitely feel free to reach out. You can always get a hold of us at info@silversoundguitar.com and check us out on all the social medias. But thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you next time.